That's a no from me. You know, that's stupid. Welcome back to my channel. I am Brenda, and this is Reading by Myshelf. So today I'm bringing you a tag that I created. I created this tag to highlight the varying and large division of subgenres within the larger fantasy genre. I know when I first started delving into fantasy, the labeling of high and epic, urban, grimdark, they all seemed a bit confusing and even daunting to master and understand at times. So I hope this tag will bring more discourse and understanding around the division between the types of books that fall into each of these categories. Maybe you don't give two hoots and you really just want to do a fun fantasy tag. By all means, welcome. So the very first question is dystopian fantasy. Name a dystopian world that you would choose to live in if you had to choose one, and why. So for me, I would choose Station 11 because it seems the lesser of evil out of all of the dystopian worlds that I have read. There is a group of traveling performers, there's found family, and nothing too sinister like cannibals. It felt very whimsical and dreamlike. It felt very almost innocent at times. While sure they were dealing issues such as grief, they also had crime. It was almost as if the world took 100 steps backwards and we're starting over from scratch. But it was the lesser of all the evils. It wasn't like The Road by Cormac McCarthy where you had cannibals. It wasn't like The Stand by Stephen King where you had these evil, malignant forces working behind the scenes to squash humanity. So that's why I chose Station 11. Question number 2. High or epic fantasy? Known for its grand scale and heroic adventures, name a hero or band of heroes that you would like to meet or join. So for this, I chose the wonderfully moral gray Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. I chose Tyrion for his sharp intellect and wit, for the fact that most of his foes underestimated him because he's so small of stature, but he is big of heart and full of cunning, and he really just stole the show so many times, and he was definitely one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Question number 3. Low fantasy or intrusion fantasy, set in the real world but with magical elements. Name an animal companion from a book that you would love to have for yourself, and what was their ability. So for me, I chose Falcor from The Never-Ending Story. This big, fluffy, white flying dog who transports his hero throughout the worst of storms. He is loyal and he is full of good fortune, and he really just captured my heart from a very young age. I must have watched this movie hundreds of times and still love it today as an adult. I had heard that they were making a remake of this movie, so I wonder if any of you know if that's still in the works. Question number 4. Magical realism. These worlds are real-world-like settings, often that contain characters with special powers. So name a character whose magical ability or skill you would like to have for yourself. So for me, I chose teleportation, kind of like in the movie Jumper with Hayden Christensen, where he can transport himself or jump himself to any place that he can visualize, such as the top of a mountain or the Eiffel Tower or even the inside of a bank. While I wouldn't use this power for bad, evil deeds, I would probably just go on vacation. Transport me to a beach or to the mountains or to the woods. I'm a happy girl. Question number 5, sword and sorcery. This is just what it sounds like. So name your favorite sorcerer. For me, I chose Merlin from the Arthurian legends. I chose Merlin because of his abilities to see the past and the future, for his affinity with animals, his ability to control the elements, and for his wide berth of knowledge, powers to do good, and this just heralds him as one of the most well-known and respected sorcerers, in my opinion. Question number 6, urban fantasy. Known for its noir and gritty real-world settings, but also known for its zombies and vampires, druids, demons, wizardry, and witchcraft. Name your favorite urban fantasy supernatural creature, and why? So for me, I chose vampires, but only the hot and sexy kind. You know, like Damon Salvatore or Eric from True Blood. No Edward Cullens. If you're a vampire that sparkles in the sun, that's a no from me. Question number 7, dark fantasy. Dark fantasy combines fantasy with horror. So name a villain who unnerved you or frightened you and why. So for me, it was certainly the Night King from the Game of Thrones series. He's at the top of the list for me because of his sheer length and persistence of his revenge, the numerous evil capabilities that he had, such as necromancy, White Walker conversion, cryokinesis, strength, and just the fact that he was once immortal. His entire backstory was completely intriguing to me, and I loved it. It was probably one of my favorite storylines in the Game of Thrones series. Question number 8, Grimdark Fantasy. Grimdark is known for revealing the darkest depths of the human condition. So name the darkest setting that you've ever immersed yourself. This could be a book or a movie or a series. So for me, I chose the post-apocalyptic world of the darkness that comes before because of its medieval, almost dark age-like atmosphere, for its cutthroat characters, where no one is safe and you can never trust people to be who they say they are. This book really, I found it very compelling and dark. It was also character-driven and kind of sinister at times. I really recommend it if you're into that kind of atmosphere and setting. Question number 9, FairyTales. While FairyTales are intended for children, they often have some of the most unique supernatural creatures. So name the most unique supernatural creature that you ever read as a kid. So for me, it was the Wicked Witch of the West. I found her wicked laughter, her flying broom, and her green skin completely thrilling and terrifying, and I often found her way into my nightmares. But yet still, I've watched The Wizard of Oz probably hundreds of times as a kid, and even went to see the musical Wicked, which did a really great job of turning this supernatural creature that I was scared of into this person who you could really relate to. So I recommend both, obviously the movie, if I'm sure everybody has seen it, but also the musical. Question number 10, superhero fantasy. So for this, pick your poison. If you were to invent or tell us a cool superhero that you would choose to transform into, and how would you acquire it? Just like Spider-Man was bitten by a spider. And for this, I'm going to choose a very cliche answer and say a spider, because I found Spider-Man's ability to swing from the top of these towering buildings and to save the day a lot of fun and interesting. And so I would probably go with Spider-Man. Either that or some kind of a fish, mermaid type thing. I need to think on that one. Question number 11, portal fantasy. Transporting you from the normal world to a magical one. You open your closet and find a portal inside. This portal transports you to another time. Where would you choose to go? So for me, I would choose to go back to the time when the pyramids were being constructed. I find the mystery surrounding the construction of these massive buildings completely intriguing. There's a lot of speculation as to whether or not the Egyptians built them or if they predate the Egyptians. I would love to just be able to see for myself to satisfy my own curiosity. Either that, or I would choose to go back to the time of the dinosaurs. And I know that probably sounds terrifying to most people, but I think that it would be magical and scary, but magical. There's actually a book, and it's by Jodi Taylor, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll find it. But in the very first book, they do exactly this. They take a time machine and they go back to the time of the dinosaurs. And I thought that it was a really interesting book. It was a really easy read, a really fun read. And the final question number 12, SciFi Fantasy. So SciFi Fantasy is fantasy in which technological advancements have changed the rules of engagement. So it's the future, you're Hadrian Marlowe, hero and murderer. Who is your trusty sidekick? And they don't have to be from the Sun Eater series. I chose Valka Undera because of her cunning and her skill with AI, and who just doesn't want a badass chick as their sidekick? I do. So she was an easy choice. I loved Valka in this series. She is loyal and smart and trustworthy, and she is fearless. So I would love to chat about these questions in the comments with you. I would also love for you to do this tag. I'm going to tag some people and hope that they do this video too. So tag me and tag some friends, and let's talk about it. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to see more. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. See you again soon.